Hello, everyone, and welcome. We'll call the meeting of the Madison City Commission order for the meeting of August 20th, 2012. Jeff, would you call the roll?
Mr. Delzer?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Walder? Mr. Abraham?
Here.
Mayor Exum?
Here. Yeah, the minutes of the August 13th meeting is a part of your record. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll move the approval of the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the August 13th meeting as prepared. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. You have the agenda for this meeting before you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to defer action on item 4 under new business. And I'd also like to have a short executive session.
Okay. Item 4 under new business would be authorize mayor to sign agreement with City of Brookings for use of landfill. We have a request to remove that from the agenda and a request for an executive session. Anything else on the agenda?
I would like to leave that on the agenda if we could. We don't have to take action on it, but since everyone's here, we could discuss it at least since it's on already. If that's okay.
I was going to invite the gentleman to stay for the session.
Oh. Then that's fine, I guess.
That's appropriate.
I think
isn't
we
it,
can
David?
do that, David, can't we?
Okay.
Yeah.
For-
Handle it that way.
And
Is
I'm
that
good with
okay?
that way.
Is that right?
Okay. That would be then to remove item 4, and we will also add an executive session. Any other changes to the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Under appearances, acknowledgements, and correspondence, we have 2 items. Number 1, we have a request from the police department to discuss parking and no parking near the Madison Middle School. So Officer Woolman is here. I believe he's prepared to discuss that. So
These are kind of hard to see because they're black and white, but on the top, there should be 5 different numbers.
okay.
I guess I'm kind of here to represent the police department, Madison Central School, and the Henry Carlson contractors up there at the school. I've spoken to both of them, so. And what we're looking at, if you can see the numbers there, 1 through 5 on the top of the map. 1 through 4 are the entrances to the back of the high school off 11th Street. Number 4 is gonna be completely removed. That's got a chain link fence going across, so that's not even gonna be used at all, so we're not concerned about that one. But 1, 2, and 3, what we're proposing is to pave the curbs yellow, 20 foot, both directions from each one of those entrances, and also post signs up, because once the snow hits, we aren't gonna see the yellow curbs. Because we're losing approximately 150 parking spaces at the high school due to the construction, and we're afraid we're gonna have some issues if we don't paint those curbs yellow and everybody parks right up next to the entrance. The contractor's gonna have semis coming in and out once in a while, and so they really appreciate this, if we could do 25 foot. I've measured one of the other ones at the community center, and that measured 25 foot, so I don't know if that's standard or what, but that's what we'd like to see. And then number 5, there on the left side, that's Summit Avenue. We'd like to paint those yellow too, that intersection, and then right across there is the entrance to the parking lot to the field house. And so that's what I'm here asking for, and like I said, I'm here representing the school. I talked to Sharon and then the contractor, so they're all in agreement with it. And as far as the semis coming in and out, at this point, we don't think parking on the north side will be an issue, but the contractor said if it does become an issue, they usually know ahead of time on the days you're gonna have semis coming in, they could just set some cones out on the opposite side just to keep it open temporarily.
Okay.
And the other thing I was wondering, is this something that we can do immediately, or does it have to pass so many days before we can actually do it? Since school starts next week.
I think the commission can act on this via a motion. Supreme Court's clear that a motion and a resolution are essentially the same thing. This would technically, well, this is a gray area whether it's even subject to a referendum. It's very much an administrative task. We're handling parking-related issues. The city's entitled to go about its business. It very well may not even be referable. I would suggest that if a motion passes to this effect, that Public Works can carry this out immediately.
Maybe it could even be worded something about due to health, safety, and welfare of the citizens.
Health, safety, and welfare is another reason to have a motion or resolution be effective immediately and not 20 days thereafter. And that's a good point, Jeff, and that would certainly fit this category.
And it's for construction purposes too, not, for long-term
This is temporary in
action.
nature.
Temporary in nature, yeah,
Well,
right.
I guess that was, we discussed that too, but what we come up with there is, it depends on how many spaces we're gonna lose forever here.
Okay.
We're gonna lose a lot of them because of the construction that we're not gonna get back.
I think the commission could certainly take it up toward
See,
the end of
further
construction to
action.
determine whether it's going to be more of a permanent character and perhaps should be codified in ordinance or not. But at this time, I think it could be acted upon by motion as a temporary measure based on health, safety, and welfare.
This is 20 or 25 feet?
25 feet is what we're
25.
proposing.
Okay.
Is that on number 5, Darwin, is that both sides you want to do it?
Yes, on Summit, going to the south, and then just on the opposite side is the entrance to the field house. And we thought it'd be a good idea to have it on that side too.
Is it going all 4 ways on Summit? Is it going east and west on 11th Street and
Yes.
north and south on
Yes.
Summit? Okay. Mr. Mayor, I would move that effective immediately, the street department Public Works be authorized to designate 25 feet on either side of the entrances to the parking lot at the Madison High School as no parking, and that the curbs be painted accordingly and signs be erected designated in a no parking area, as well as the intersection of Summit Avenue and 11th Street, going both ways on the intersection, and that this be designated due to health, public safety, that it be effective immediately.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second that we approve the recommendations for temporary parking restrictions and painting of curbs in the Madison Central School area on 11th Street and Summit Avenue during the construction period. Did you get all that written down, Jeff?
Don't ask me to repeat it, but I'll have it for you next week.
Okay.
At full confidence.
Okay, you've heard the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? I guess I had one question. Could we drop down to 9th Street there? We will keep the parking on both sides of 9th Street prohibited during the school day, right?
I spoke to Mrs. Milton on that too. Right now, the way it sits on the north side, it's no parking during school hours. The other side, south side, is visitors only. We've opted to keep that as is for now and see how it goes on the north side.
Okay,
Because the issue we're gonna have on 9th Street is during snow emergency
yeah,
notices, there's no parking period, so 9 times out of 10, when we have that, there's no school anyway.
yeah. So it's visitors on the south side during the school day.
That's correct.
And then on nights and weekends, both sides are allowed? Is that, I haven't got that in front of me, but,
Both sides,
okay.
during non-school hours.
okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2, under appearances, acknowledgements, correspondence, we have the liability inspection report. Jeff, would you like to comment on that?
Certainly. The city is a member of the South Dakota Workmen's Compensation Fund and also the South Dakota Public Assurance Fund, which are both insurance pools made up of a number of cities and counties in South Dakota. And every 3 years, they send representatives out to inspect all their customers for potential liability concerns. And this was our turn. This gentleman, the liability pool engages the safety benefits to do its loss control. Establish policies, do inspections, that type of thing. And their representative was here for 3 days in late July, and to do their 3-year survey. And they came up with these suggestions, and they visited each department, and the supervisors of each department took them around, gave them a tour, and they did their inspection and came up with these suggestions for us. Now, typically, what we've done is the commission has directed me to contact the supervisors and ask them to respond to these recommendations and report back within 60 days. Many times, the concerns or the recommendations are actually completed. So these reports come back and they'll just say completed. If they do need longer than 60 days, then they'll write on here when they expect to have them done. They are listed in a priority list, that being A as the most important to take care of, B, and then C. And we do have a couple of A priorities. The recommendations that they made are really nothing out of the ordinary. This was actually a fairly good report for us.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments on any of the items in the liability inspection report?
The recurrent topic, the open circuit breakers,
Right.
is that where breakers have been removed from the panel, or is that not having plugs and outlets?
That's usually the plugs in the outlet thing.
Okay. Pretty in-depth then.
Right. It was last time, 3 years ago, anyway. I'd have to verify that for sure.
The report should be acknowledged.
I make a motion to acknowledge the report and to authorize Jeff to submit this report to the department heads and have them report back to him in 60 days.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we acknowledge the liability inspection report with Jeff to coordinate the corrections with the respective department heads. Any other questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. We have no items listed under old business. Under new business, several. Number 1, bills for approval, bills for ratification.
Make a motion to approve and ratify the bills.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded that we approve and ratify the bills as presented. Any questions or speaking to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. New business number 2, to authorize the mayor to sign the airport grant agreement with the FAA. That grant agreement has been reviewed. This is the formality for the purchase, the land purchase of 16.4 acres, the runway protection zone for runway 21. This is in the amount of $126,762 for the land purchase for that project. What are your wishes?
I'd make a motion for the mayor to authorize the mayor to sign the airport grant with the FAA.
Second.
There is a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to sign the airport grant agreement with the Federal Aviation Administration. Any questions or speaking?
Our share is 2% on that.
For, yes. Answer your question, yes.
2%.
It's going to 5.
Right, the state's agreed to pay the other
This
3.
year it's 2, right.
State's agreed to pay the other 3 this year.
Right.
That's right.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. New business number 3, to create the downtown improvement reserve of $47,000 in the general fund.
I guess I asked Jeff to
Okay.
do this with all the discussion on moving forward on the downtown improvement. We had some funds that we released from a garage reserve that we'd had for quite some time and didn't have any intention on moving forward with that. That we put $60,000 into the general fund. I'm asking to take $47,000 of that that's not allocated and set it aside for future use towards downtown improvement. There's no specific use for this. This is kind of set aside, so when the plans come back, either the city needs to do some updates on their own infrastructure, or if studies need to be done, we have some money set aside to move forward with something.
Okay, any questions, comments?
Mayor?
Yes.
I believe that one further comment might be that, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, but the intent of doing this is really not to give the authority to spend it, but it's to set it aside in case the decision is made to commit some funds towards something. The funds are set aside. So that, am I correct in assuming that not necessarily do you have the right now to just go out and spend this? That'll still come back through the budget process to,
Yeah.
Just to create the reserve.
Yeah, it's being put in a reserve, so to actually spend the money, we'd have to,
I only
Make a
say that because to clarify a couple of questions I had today from citizens.
Mhm.
And there's no specific project in mind, is there?
No,
Commissioner?
no,
Just- Just to establish the reserve.
the point was, we're going through this process and we don't really know where it's gonna come out at the other end. So to get through it, there may need to be some money spent, or on the other side, I wanna be prepared so we don't have to wait another year or two to start the process if we come up with some good ideas on how to start to improve the downtown.
Yeah, I think, Jeff, the way to kind of explain it is that it could be 3 or 4 different projects as citizens come forward with different projects. Now, we actually have some funds, and we're not scrambling throughout the year trying to find money or push other projects back. And so this way, we at least have a little bit in reserve to do some of those projects as they come forward.
So with that, I'd like to make a motion to move $47,000 from the general fund to the downtown improvement reserve, and create a downtown improvement reserve, I guess.
Second.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded that we approve the creation of a downtown improvement reserve of $47,000 out of the general fund. Any questions or speaking? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. That completes the regular order of business that we have for the agenda. Unless there are announcements, we are prepared to go into executive session, and we would appreciate it if you gentlemen would stay for the executive session for this discussion. Okay?
but we have the right to know.